Hello, handsome fellas. This is Seth talking here, and today we're going to be doing an interview with
I almost fell.
Here, scoot it forward. Okay, you good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Right.
Hey, guys. What
Okay.
a good intro.
Anyway, going to be interviewing Jeffery Ison. If you were here last week, you caught my interview, and he's my partner and my buddy, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So I'll open with one of the real hard hitters. I want to take this seriously. Why do you think your parents named you Jeffrey?
I actually know this. I know this answer. I think it was my mom. She had a relative. I want to say uncle. It could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she had an uncle that had passed away, and she just wanted to. She always liked the name, so she wanted to name me Jeffrey.
How about your middle name?
Michael.
Michael?
Why they named me
Why'd
Michael?
they name you Michael?
I couldn't tell you.
Big fans of The Office, I know.
Yes.
In the Ison
No.
household.
Actually, I think it was because if I was a girl, they were going to name me Michelle. This could be complete. Mom and Dad, if you're listening, because sometimes they do watch this.
Yeah.
Stuff, if you're listening, I don't know why. I want to say it's because if I was a girl, I would have been named Michelle, and then they kept Michael and just made it the middle name.
Okay. I like these answers. You're coming at it strong. All right. So the first 180 in my poorly organized interview will be what got you interested in editing and video creation specifically? Because I actually have no idea what made you start and how you got started.
It did kind of come out of nowhere, honestly.
Let us know.
I had honestly never done anything of the sort. I never liked group projects. I never liked projects in general where I had to create something because I always thought I wasn't good enough. And then I built my computer before junior year of high school, so about almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I built that, and that's the time I started watching YouTube as like a media, like not just for like, oh, this guy has access to this game before everybody else does. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I started watching, and I'm gonna, I don't get crap for this now, but the first person I subscribed to on a regular basis was Markiplier. And and he was fun, and
you
not
were
to
interested.
Say, I was
interested.
interested.
Yeah.
And not to say he's not fun anymore. He's just not for me. I'm not subscribed anymore.
Fair enough.
I kind of grew out of that. But when I first watched it, because he is a good editor, and a lot of the bigger YouTubers are good editors, and I saw all this stuff that it wasn't just clipping together. It was like he made a joke, but he also put something in the video that made it way funnier than it actually was.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder if I could do that. And I started looking at stuff in Windows Movie Maker and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it was at that time, it was actually Hayden, who's on the Cinema Buns, who I talked to. I talked to Kaylee and Hayden about making Let's Plays, because Hayden was on Xbox that day, and me and him were playing something.
That's
I think
awesome.
we were playing Call of Duty. And I was like, I built this computer, and I really want to make Let's Plays. I just don't know what I would do. And Hayden told me the story about how he made some like Pokemon Let's Play when he was little.
I know about this.
Yeah. Let's see. So after all of that,
Hayden telling you about his Pokemon Let's
Hayden
Plays.
told me about that. I was like, you know what? Why not? And that's what basically he said. And Kaylee said this too. They were like, well, just like, why not? Like, even if nobody watches it, so what? You're making something. You're having fun. And ever since I made the first video, and I was talking to Apocalyptic about this. It's not necessarily the fact that, I made a video. It's the fact that something did not exist until I sat down and made it what it was.
Right.
And that you probably have this sense too when you're creating for Cinema Buns or even this channel,
Absolutely.
like this podcast. This did not exist until we came up with the idea, put it, and we made it what it is. And then we refined it,
It feels
and then we
so
put
good.
it out there. And it felt good.
Yeah.
And after the first video, I was like, I want to do more. And so the very first day, I recorded 4 videos and edited them and uploaded 4 videos in 4 days. And I was like, this is awesome. Now, my first video got 40 views, and I was freaking out. I was like, 40 views? That's incredible. And 40 views isn't bad.
Yeah, it's
like,
not terrible.
10
For your first video ever.
10 views isn't bad for a first video. Like, that's 10 people or 5 people twice who have watched your stuff.
Right.
And that's the thing that you always have to remember is like those numbers are people. Like, it's hard to realize it, but it's people.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where it came from, was like the editing was like, I really like to edit. This did not exist until I made it what it was.
Yeah, I like that. I like that mentality a lot. What do you think the hardest thing that you've ever had to edit was?
The hardest thing I've ever had to edit, probably the Christmas skit that we just did. That was really hard.
I was watching you do it.
But I loved it at the same time because I'd never done anything like that. That's why, that's one of the reasons I I wanted to do Almost Handsome, was because this would allow me to do stuff that I've never done before.
Right.
Like the big series we have coming up, ever would have done that unless we did this channel.
Exactly. I would have never even thought about doing something like that.
As for 2F, the hardest thing I've ever edited was either the CS:GO video where it was like, you know, that had a lot of editing in it, or the how to play Star Wars Battlefront, which is it's one of my least favorite videos.
Yeah.
Because that one was very forced, because I was like, oh, how to play Counter-Strike got a lot of views.
I loved that video.
And everybody loved it. Some people will tell me, oh, that's my favorite video of yours. And that was the first video of mine that had gotten shared because somebody else saw it and showed it to other people. I was like, oh, I need to make another one of these. And then How to Play Star Wars came off too scripted. I rushed it because I set a date for it that I was not ready for.
Right.
And it just came off not right. And so there will be more how-to plays, like How to Play Overwatch is going to be a thing that I'll be doing.
Awesome.
But it'll be like the CSGO one.
Well thought out. You take your time.
Where I just I play the game and then mash it up.
Yeah.
Like I don't, right, because How to Play Battlefront, I had a script. That's why it came off way too fast.
Because CSGO felt supernatural the whole way through. I wasn't sure if you'd scripted that or not.
No, I sat down to record it like Mountain Blade, where I just sit down and play it, and then I ended up editing it different. That's why it was hard, was just to get back to the question, because I kind of got off topic there for a second.
You're fine. You nailed it, though. It was like a donkey style format almost. It was really good.
That's why I really like it. Okay. So anyway.
All the parallels drawn between 2F Jeff and Almost Handsome brings up the question. Not even parallels, I guess opposites, but how do you feel having one YouTube channel with multiple thousands of subscribers versus another channel with multiple tens?
I like the way you phrase that. It's definitely hard sometimes, because it definitely becomes like an issue of priority. Of like, which one do I need to sit down and work for now? Which one do I need to sit down and work for today? And there are some times when I'm writing for Almost Handsome, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. And I'm like, I haven't uploaded to Jeff today, and I promised like 7 videos a week now. And so it's like, that needs to be a priority. And so that's the biggest issue right now, is which one deserves more priority. But it just kind of goes in waves. Like, for a few weeks, and you know, we'll do the same. Like, for a few weeks I'll work on 2F and you'll work on Cinema Buns, and then we'll meet and we'll talk about stuff for like a week. And in that week, we're very, very productive. We make skits, we make podcasts, we edit like better than we have before, and we do very well. And then we'll kind of go back to what we're doing. So that's why you'll see a surge of content on this channel, Almost Handsome, and then it'll kind of die down for a little bit, and then you'll see another surge of content. And that's when we get together and think about stuff. That's the biggest thing. But it's kind of a good thing, because when you have a channel that does have, I believe it's 2,200 right now, that's 2F. Having a channel like Almost Handsome puts it into perspective.
Right.
Because it shows you where you were at one point, but also that the people who support you from the beginning are really what build your channel. And so
that's awesome.
That's why, like, whenever I do streams, or I have the Discord, so I can talk to the people who support me, because I don't want to like make them feel like, okay, I've got 2,000 now, you're just a number. Yeah. Like, it definitely puts it in perspective. But I will say this, and this may, if people from 2F are listening, it may upset them a little bit, but I will say I'm probably more, when something on Almost Handsome does pretty good, like, you know, 2F Jeff videos get sometimes 1,000 views. Yeah. When something on Almost Handsome breaks 50 or 100, I'm probably happier about that than I am a video breaking 10,000 on 2F.
I know exactly what you mean.
2F is like, okay, I'm going to sit down and record this game, and I'm going to put my best effort into it, but the main focus is the game, not me. Yeah. On Almost Handsome, the main focus is us, our comedy, our style, our editing, and stuff like that. So when 50 or 100 people see that, I'm like, this was received well, and it was us. Like, we were the main focus. That's
awesome. I love that mentality.
And that's probably the difference between the two channels right now, is that I'm definitely, I'm more happier when Almost Handsome succeeds as opposed to 2F.
I totally
and
get
don't
what you
get me
mean.
wrong, I'm still happy with 2F.
Of course.
Obviously.
I want to make it clear to everybody too. This is just something that's going to be changing soon. Is that these surges are going to be happening more often, because right now we live in two different cities, about 30 minutes apart. Yeah, and I'll be moving sometime this year to an area in his city that's about 10 to 8 minutes from him. Bad part of town. But anyway, these surges, the amount of content that's going to be coming out is going to be happening more frequent now that we'll be closer together. Yeah. So, what's the most rewarding thing for you that you do outside of YouTube?
Outside of YouTube?
Yes.
You probably know the answer to this. Probably it's hockey.
That's what I was going to think.
It's just because it keeps me fit. It keeps me feeling like I'm doing something more than just go to school, do YouTube, and work.
Of course.
Sometimes it does get a little hard because, and I've talked to this to Kaylee, to other people, really, I think I don't know how many things. I have school I focus on, work, YouTube, hockey, and like my relationships with friends and family.
Yes.
So 5 things I focus on. And I've noticed I can focus on 4 just fine. That there's always a 5th one that suffers. And I've noticed when I focus on school, work, YouTube, and hockey, my relationship will suffer. But if
Yeah.
I focus on relationships, school, hockey, and family, YouTube will suffer. I won't do that. And so I'm getting way better about it over the winter break that we've had. I've
Yeah.
successfully managed them all. But that's because school's been out of the picture. So school's coming back, and so it's going to be like, all right, how are we going to get this to where I don't have problems? Because starting college for the first semester, it's always hard because you have to
Yeah, of
figure out
course.
everything. But so yeah, but hockey, yes, hockey is definitely the biggest thing that I feel rewarded about, because it's, you know, like whenever I got my very first start in a hockey game, probably like one of the most happiest nights of my life. And I know that I would have never had that unless it was hockey or another
Right.
something else. So that is definitely hockey for sure.
Yeah, and that begs the question: how do you balance so many things at once? Because this is something I've been interested in, not only as your friend, as
Yeah,
a
you've
content
actually
creator,
asked
but
me
I've
this
asked you this
before.
personally because
It-
it's impressive.
I don't want to. Okay, you know that I get awkward with these questions because
I know, I'm sorry.
No.
I hate to
you're
force it
fine.
out of you.
No, you're fine. It's always hard for me to answer these questions because I hate sounding like I'm bragging or any sort of sense.
Right.
And so if it sounds like that, I apologize. However, I think one thing my mom and my dad have always stressed to me were like, hey, you signed up for this thing, or you're doing this thing. You can't really quit it until it's over, or you have to give it your all. So ever since I've grown up, you know, if I hate, like I did soccer for 2 years. I hated soccer, but they told me you're not allowed to quit, and if you start trying not trying as hard, like they'd punish me in some way or another.
Right.
But like, as much as it sucked, I'm glad I did soccer. I have some of the funniest stories. Like one time in the championship game of soccer, we lost 2-0.
Right.
But I had the only 2 goals. But it was because that other net, our net, was closer and they weren't guarding it. So I kicked it into that net because it was so much easier.
You did it twice?
Twice.
How did you not catch it the first time that they... Okay, it's your interview. Keep
I
going.
don't know. I think it was because people laughed because I said they're not over there. I was like 4 at this time. I wasn't like 16.
Right,
just doing
okay.
it.
I thought this was like grade school.
No.
at least.
I
Okay.
was like 4. But yeah, so anyway, whenever, I don't know, you just gotta balance a lot of things, and I make it a point to all the things I'm balancing are things that I care about. Like I don't. Well, to be fair, I don't care about my job that much, but I need to keep it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like not try hard.
Yeah, because it's your job. You may not care about the job, but you care about what comes as a repercussion.
Exactly. So it's like you gotta try hard. So I know that everything I balance means something to me on a different level, and so
Okay.
you just, I don't know. I try to make time for everything, and sometimes
That's
things
awesome.
suffer. Sometimes things do great. It's
Yeah.
just kind of how it.
It's a balancing act. It's not easy to do for anybody, and you do a great job of it. So
I appreciate that.
I'm glad you appreciate it. Okay, so what's your favorite sovereign nation that the United States has dropped an atomic bomb on?
Probably Japan.
Japan. Japan. It's
Yeah,
a good choice.
That's a good one. The other
many
one being
choices, but that's
Japan
good.
as well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that one too. Can't forget about Japan though. So I
Yeah.
enjoy that one.
Absolutely. What is your least favorite movie that you have ever watched all the way through?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You watched the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I've heard so many
I
great
remember
things.
when I first saw it, I was like, that was so good. And then I grew up and I realized I got cheated out of a great story.
You loved it?
Because I was like 10. or
How young
12.
were we when that came
I
out?
don't know, actually. Look it up, like,
Okay,
if you
hold
can.
on. I can. I'll hit you real quick. Avatar live action
It was,
movie.
I remember
Because if this is middle school, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed in you. 2010. That was elementary school.
that was elementary
Yeah,
school.
we
Because
were little.
I remember, anyway, I remember, like, seeing it, and I thought, oh, that's great. I loved it. Just because I liked Avatar.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, that was bad. That was the acting was bad. The story was not similar to like what it was carried out really poorly. And it was
I've
just,
heard
and they
so
set it
many
up for
awful
sequels
things.
that does not deserve a sequel. And if there's one movie to be remade, and I saw this on a Reddit thread, everybody wants movies that are great to be remade because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that movie was great. Let's watch it again, but like it's different this time. Remakes should be for movies that have a great general idea, but were executed
They got
poorly.
messed up hard.
Yes.
It's the same.
Avatar: The Last Airbender deserves a remake with a different director.
Yeah.
Because they
Somebody
just
that's
deserve
actually
it.
a fan of the source
I would
material.
like to see the guy who directed Rogue One direct
An Avatar movie?
Yes, because he does very good with large scale battles.
Yeah.
And the story 1 water of Avatar: The Last Airbender is like the siege of the water or the whatever that.
He do
is.
all the militaristic side of Avatar would be done really, really well by somebody like that.
I wonder how the story would be.
That's what I worried about, because in Rogue One, characterizations were really, really good, but development kind of lacked a little bit. In Avatar,
Yeah.
the character development is one of its strongest suits. It's really
you have,
good.
Like 3 seasons to get to know them before they go through anything
Exactly.
big, really.
Of course, in the first movie, the Rogue One director would work out perfectly, because Book 1, there's not a whole lot of character
No.
development going on. There's a lot of battles, though. That's a really good point.
Exactly.
I like that. What about TV show that was bad, but
Big
you
Bang
actually
Theory.
finished? You finished
No,
The Big
I
Bang
didn't.
Theory?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was joking.
Okay.
It was a TV show that was bad.
That you watched at least most of the way through.
Oh man, that's a tough question. That I watched most of the way through. So any TV show.
Any TV show.
Well, I mean, I will be honest. I said it as a joke, but I have watched most of The Big Bang Theory.
Most.
Like, not the last. Like, when I moved out was when I. Well, okay, that's not fair.
Okay.
I watched it because I used to eat dinner with my mom and dad all the time, like in the living room, and they
Okay.
love The Big Bang Theory.
It's because it's just like their son. They're a bunch of dorks.
I don't like it, but there are some times where there are a few episodes that it's not that I enjoy them.
I
but
get
it's not
why
that
people like it.
it's like it's not that I enjoy them, but it's like a kind of a nostalgia thing where it's
Yes.
like, okay, I like this because it just reminds me of eating dinner with my parents. But I haven't watched the last 3 seasons because
Okay. That's crazy.
it's really getting driven to the ground.
That's crazy. I'm not judging you at all for that.
No,
though.
it's fine.
It's
I don't
totally
care.
reasonable, especially if your parents were fans of it.
It's
So,
just keep in mind, I don't think it's a quality show. I think it's a very forced humor. I think it's a very lazily done show. Like they'll just throw
Absolutely
references
lazily.
in there.
God, yeah. Like
But-
Thundercats, Optimus Prime, SpongeBob, Mario, and
when you're watching
fucking
it with your
everybody
parents-
creams.
When you're watching it with your parents, you just don't think about that
Yeah.
stuff. You could say it's a show that you have to watch absent-mindedly, and I don't like that you have to do that.
You have to
enjoy it.
completely like
Let
step
go
out of your body.
everything.
Yeah,
Let
I
go of
totally get
everything that you know and watch The Big Bang Theory.
Okay, so do you think the dress is black or gold?
Nice, that's good. Did you write that last night whenever you were thinking of questions?
I wrote it right before you walked in. It's pretty funny, get it?
All
That was
right.
a joke 4 years ago. Okay, best nationality for Americanized food. We're talking like Italian or Mexican. Super off-the-wall question here, but I got into a debate about this with other friends the other day.
So,
like Chinese, Americanized food, of course. Chinese,
Americanized
Italian,
food that I
Mexican.
like most.
Yeah.
It's between Italian and Mexican for me right now. I don't
Okay.
eat Chinese food at all.
Why?
I just don't. I don't know.
Any
Like,
specific reason at all?
I don't know. I don't. Probably because I was never exposed to it as a child. Like my parents we have never been to a Chinese food restaurant ever.
Never. Not once.
Never. I've never been to Walk and Go.
It's cheap.
I've never been anywhere like Chinese food.
Can I take you to eat Chinese sometime?
That's fine.
It's cheap and it
It's
tastes.
fine.
It's pretty good.
I've never had it. Probably because most of the stuff I've been exposed to are like egg rolls that are just that assault your mouth because they're not good.
Yeah.
Like some of the egg rolls I've had were like the cafeteria egg rolls, which I know are not good Chinese food.
It's garbage.
Yes, but then some of the other ones that have been like catered to places I've tried, and I just haven't liked
Not
it
a
that
fan.
much.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's either between Mexican or Italian. I'd probably say Americanized Italian because the place that we go is. They say it's authentic and it's owned by a family who has come from Mexico and to America to make a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's really good. But Americanized would probably be Italian. I probably like Italian Americanized food more than Mexican.
I love Americanized versions of every kind of food, basically.
Yeah,
so
it's very
I'm with
good.
you on every page there. But okay, with a theme of world and other countries and nations and stuff, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would that be? If you could do it right now.
I've actually thought of this question before. Probably to Rome, Italy, or like Greece. Sweden would also be cool, but it has history, but not nearly the history that Rome has.
Yeah, a tour of Europe would be interesting for the
Yeah.
history alone.
Oh yeah, I've always, especially since Battlefield 1 came out, I've been like I've been reading and watching stuff about World War One history, which was fascinating for some reason because we never learned about World War One. We learned about it.
Did you take military history in high
No,
school?
I didn't take that.
There's most of
Yeah.
that is about World War One. It's an awesome class.
Yeah, but like, because I never realized how bad World War One was, and that I know we're getting into games, but that's what Battlefield One does well, is it shows you that it was awful, it was terrible.
Yeah,
there's
it was
one
an
mission.
absolute mess.
There's one mission where every time you die, it tells you the name of who you were, and it tells you their birth date and like the day they died, and then it switches to a different person, and then when you die with that person, it shows you their name, and so it shows you, oh, these aren't like these aren't just AI people, these are real people who lived and died, and
fought
over
in the
20
war.
million people died, and it's like that was awful, that was crazy bad.
They
Like,
were fighting with futuristic technology in a style of warfare that was long outdated.
Oh, yeah.
And it destroyed.
everything.
It didn't destroy anything but the people involved. It's like
Exactly.
one of the only wars where there wasn't really like a whole lot of infrastructure broken, just
yeah,
the people.
It was total war.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's what
exactly.
it was like the first total war.
It was disgusting.
It like I remember because yesterday I watched 45 minutes worth of history on World War One, and like I remember them talking about how like the French got destroyed because they were still fighting with tactics from the like Napoleonic Wars. Like,
that's what I'm.
they wore blue shirts with
Yes.
red pants and white like whatever the middle
I think
things
I
are.
don't remember if it
And
was
German
Austria or
artillery
Poland.
were
They did
like,
something similar.
yeah, and Germany was like, oh, just fucking bomb them like with artillery shells.
Yeah.
Because we see who that is. That's France, and so they were like, oh crap. So it was like the first war to have like armor and like camouflage and just. There were rules of war that were broken.
Exactly.
Like you weren't allowed to use poisonous gas. That rule was broken.
Mustard gas.
You weren't allowed to bomb civilians. That was broken. So anyway, we went way off the question, which was what
No,
country
that's
would you
fine,
like to
that's
go
fine.
to? But it would be either like Germany because of the history of how many times they've just messed things up, or it would be Rome because of ancient Rome. But then not only that, but also because the Holy Roman Empire, who Germany kind of broke away from
Yeah.
and made Germany. The Holy Roman Empire was also a very cool time period. That was like medieval crusade stuff like
Yeah.
that, and that would also be cool to learn about.
Learning about the history is one thing, but if time travel existed and you could go back to a certain point in time, what era, what part of the world, where would you like to go?
Ooh,
Okay,
that's cool. That's a cool question.
I'll give you two options here too. Would you rather you can be involved and observe, or involved from like a distance, or observe from a distance? Either or involved directly. It's up to you. You can be involved directly or observe from a distance.
I'd probably observe. I don't think
Okay.
I'd ever jump into it because it's just the time periods are different.
No matter what, it's going to feel
It's
like a
gonna
different
feel
world.
terrifying.
Yeah.
But probably it would be the medieval ages because like 1200, 1400.
For observation,
1200,
I can understand
For
that.
observation, yeah. And it would either be, it would be somewhere in Europe. I don't know where. It would probably be, it could even be Sweden. It could be
Vikings.
France, England at that time was cool too. But also another one would be cool would be like Rome, like BC, like before Christ, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. 400 BC when Rome reigned supreme. That would be cool to look at too.
Yeah. Things like feudal era Japan and the Korean War too.
Oh, I
Parts of-
forgot about Japan.
Or Korea. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
the battle between North and South Korea, that's what divided two things, and possibly the worst country on earth right now was formed out of that. So.
Yeah. What would also be cool is to stay in the same location but go back to 1600, 1700.
That would be cool. See
Like
what's
seeing
Native
Kentucky,
American.
the
'cause
Iroquois, and
Yeah.
different tribes and stuff like that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be really cool.
As long as you're not a part of it.
No,
Because
no. I'm observing.
They would not be cool with that.
They would not enjoy my company. But yeah, that's probably where I'd go. Would be
Yeah.
Rome, BC. Rome, BC, but also could be like 1200, or just anywhere in Europe in the medieval times because there's so much history there.
Right.
Or Kentucky, 1600s, 1700s.
That's
because
awesome.
that's whenever like Native Americans were. That's whenever they were first documented. Because
Yeah.
like, that's when we found
Exactly.
it was 1492 was
Yeah.
when we came over here.
Definitely be interesting. So that was really the last question I had prepared, except for shoe size and cat or dog, and I'll let you take the pick between either of those questions.
Shoe size
and-
is usually 12 in Nikes.
Okay.
As for other things, I don't know. It's like my boots are a size 10 because their sizing's weird.
Boots
but
up,
12
they do
in
have weird
Nikes.
sizing. That's true.
Yeah. Cat or dog? I'm a dog person. Cats seem very not lazy, but that they don't seem as affectionate as dogs.
They're very
to me.
distant, aren't they?
Yeah. That's about it.
Okay.
That's it. Do the game question. I want to answer the game question. You
Oh,
know my game
oh
question.
no. Oh, I wanted to ask. I know you're not really a fan of Nintendo or Sega.
I never have been, for some reason.
Any game that was built off of like a retro ideal. You've never really been into. What is your favorite game of all time?
Favorite game of all time is Skyrim. You know that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Just because it was the first RPG that I played. Because I think I've explained this before, but not on a podcast. When I was little, the only games it's not that my parents didn't let me buy other games, it's that they always, whenever they bought me games, it was sports games or like first person shooter games. So I'd only play like
nifty games,
Call
the
of
cool
Duty
stuff.
or sports games, or that was it. And so when I got Skyrim, I was like, whoa, this is different because you can do whatever the hell you want, and there's this universe behind it. There's hours and hours of story behind it. Like there's these there's these dragons and stuff, but they're actually gods, and it's like there's story behind it. And I was like, this is deeper than anything I played.
Awesome.
And in retrospect, Skyrim's a pretty simple game. It's a very hack and slash style game.
Fair enough. It's a simple game, but it was a game that set the precedent for what open world games should be until now. When people say this game is going to be open world, instantly the schema for every human that has played Skyrim is Skyrim. Will it be as fun as Skyrim was to walk around?
And that's why I liked it. But as for why I don't like Nintendo games, it's not that I don't like them. It's that I wasn't into them earlier, and it's hard for me to get into them now because I'm into what I am in. It was hard for me to get into Overwatch for a long time, and I bought it because I was on a whim. It was on sale, and I got it just to see what it was about.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I didn't like it because everybody else liked it. And I'm like that with a lot of things for some reason. If it gets a lot of traction, I'm like, I don't like it.
Everyone's like that to an extent.
But then I played Overwatch, and it was like, okay, this is good. This is a fun game. It's balanced. It's very well done. I enjoyed it a lot. The characters
colorful,
look cool.
It's fun. It's a great time. I love Overwatch.
Exactly. But as for Nintendo games, I don't know. Pokemon never really got me that much because it was so grindy. I never enjoyed the grinding process.
A lot of JRPGs are really grindy.
Other than that, I don't know. It's also hard to go backwards in games when you find when I found Skyrim, I was like, I need to play Oblivion and Morrowind, and I played Oblivion and Morrowind. I was like, these are all right.
It's hard to backtrack.
But it's hard when you find something great. It's hard to go backwards.
And like all these new Nintendo platforming games and the fighting things, they're based off of precedents that were set 20 years ago. And if you weren't a part of the original 20 years ago, and you're not a child now learning how to play this kind of game, it's weird.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to pick up controls. Because I don't think you like any platformers, like any 3D or 2D platformers.
Platformer, what is a platformer exactly?
It'd be like Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, like a level scrolling game, Mario, Sonic.
I absolutely loved Ratchet and Clank when I was little.
Ratchet and Clank's awesome. That's more of an action adventure platformer, though.
Yeah. I played Crash Bandicoot when I was little, but not really. Again, I was really exposed to
badass games.
Sports games.
You were king of the playground in elementary school. For anybody that didn't know that, Jeffrey was a cool kid.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know what it was. Well, okay, I actually thought about this. The reason I like games, why I like them now, is because I like the immersion aspect of them. Okay. I like it, and this is the reason I don't really play The Witcher that much as opposed to Skyrim. Obviously, The Witcher is it's more... It's probably better than Skyrim in some regards.
In some ways.
But and it took me a long time till I realized this, and it hit me. When it hit me, it made so much sense of why they don't play other games like Earthbound or other ones. It's
Earthbound can be immersive, you chump.
Well, it's whenever your character's background is established for you.
Oh.
That's when... Because I like it when... I can either make me or I can make a character and give them...
You like to feel like it's you.
Or not even me. I can give my character a backstory. Because that's what, Bethesda games do well, is, all right, you're in jail, but you get to make your story up until this point. Yeah. With The Witcher 3, there's 2 other games that tell you who this character is.
And a whole set of books and
lore. And all this other stuff. And so it's it's a lot of fun, but it's hard for me to get immersed in it because the game's telling me who it is. Yeah. And even first-person shooters like Battlefront, I can say I'm a stormtrooper, but I have a backstory or something like that.
You can imagine it yourself.
Exactly. I can imagine it as myself or as something I care about.
That makes sense.
That's probably why I don't play as many games where the character is pre-established.
Yeah.
So that's really it.
Okay,
So.
that makes sense. Well, that's pretty much it for the questions, too. Well, thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you like Jeffrey's story and not the dumb memes at the beginning that I'm going to go back and edit out, then, hit
You don't
subscribe
have
and all
to
that
edit those.
stuff.
I like those questions.
We'll see about that. All right, bye, guys. You do the outro this time. I did it last time.
Thank you for watching this episode of Almost Handsome Podcast. Remember to please donate money to us, please. We're very poor. We don't have a lot of money or subscribers.
Bad part of town thing wasn't a joke, guys.
I'm nervous all of the time. So if we could get some money, that'd be great. Thanks. Bye.